Hello and welcome to today's episode of TSARP. I'm your host, Andrew Weir, and today we're going to be talking about the top 3 programming languages you need to learn in 2023. To help me out is my friend Andrew.
Hello.
We share a great name, like this is one of the best names.
Best name.
It really is.
That's the best name.
Yeah. So
we
gave
if
you
you're a John, your name is boring. I hate to tell you.
You just offended all the Johns. So
Could unsubscribe
yesterday we gave you a trivia question. You might have answered it, you might have not, or you might just not have listened to yesterday's episode. Well, don't do it now because we're about to give you the answer. So yesterday's question was, how large is a petabyte? So a petabyte it goes byte, kilobyte, megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte, then petabyte. Okay, so that might give you an answer. So a petabyte is 124 terabytes. And then you can convert that to bytes because I'm not doing the conversion. But if you answered that question, you were correct.
Goes to show how
no one did.
We are to this bit.
Yes. Everyone didn't. No one answered correctly. So, maybe you should start looking it up. Maybe cheat, because we need someone to get it correctly.
First person to get it right, I'm going to give them $5 if I know them. Those are the stakes. So you better watch extensively.
Yes, and the great thing is you don't know anyone that listens, so yeah.
Yeah.
So today's question, though, I'll give it right now. It was, when was Python made? If you don't know, Python is a programming language, and we're actually going to talk about it later, too. So,
You're spoiling
it. So, again, it's going to be a multiple choice question in the description. If you are listening on Anchor, you are going to have to go to to Spotify and answer it there. It will not be in the description on Anchor. You will have to go to Spotify. So not telling you the answer now, because we'll tell it to you yesterday. Yeah, we're actually time travelers. So,
we tell it to you whenever we want to.
Now for the main segment. What are the 3 languages you need to learn? That's a good question. So a lot of you could probably guess right now what it could be. And, that should have been the question today. What are the ones you want to learn?
Let's start with number 3 and do build up to 1.
Yeah, so number 3 is Swift. So if you don't know what Swift is, it's a programming language that allows you to build apps on Apple devices. So it's not just iPhones, not just iPads. I believe you can even build Mac apps and all that stuff, Apple TV, all of it. If you want to build... Very useful. Anything on Apple. So it's been around since, I believe, 2014. Don't quote me on that. But originally Apple used the programming language Objective-C and then changed it to Swift. And ever since they've been using it, all their developers, anyone that makes an app now for Apple devices. So I would learn it, okay? Because
it's very worthwhile to know.
Because mobile apps are becoming more and more powerful. Think about it. People are switching from MacBooks, switching from laptops to iPads. And if you want to make an app for iPads, you gotta know Swift. There's no way around it. There are some other frameworks, but Swift is the most supported and the most popular. So number 3 is Swift. Moving on, the next one is JavaScript. There is not a thing you cannot do that you cannot do in JavaScript. JavaScript can literally do anything from make mobile apps, including Apple apps, just only for mobile. I don't believe you can make Apple TV apps or any of that stuff. Only mobile apps. But you can make anywhere from mobile apps to web applications, to server applications, to even desktop applications. You can really do anything with JavaScript.
Yeah. And if you are thinking of being stupid and being an exception, oh, you can't do Python in Java. Yes, you can. You can code Python in Java if you really want to.
Yeah, tools like OpenAI, they have a bunch of tools to convert your code. So now I'm not recommending this because it's really a bad thing to do. Because you should learn multiple languages.
It's very useful.
But there's even other tools that can do it for you. Do I recommend learning one and just converting it to other languages? No. But like Andrew said, it is a possibility. So, for our final, most useful, and now this is controversial. A lot of people are going to say, a lot of people are going to say that it should have been JavaScript in first. And
just say
it could.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Python.
Python.
Everybody's saying Python at the same time.
Everyone just said it. They all said it.
It's just the best. Like,
yeah, I mean,
it's so easy to learn. There's so many people who know it, so it's just like worthwhile to know.
Yeah, it is definitely what you should learn first. I do not recommend learning JavaScript first. You're going to get frustrated. You're not going to want to code anymore. And you're just going to stop coding. And one tip I have for you is don't stop. If you want to take a break, that's always good because there's a lot of burnout in the development community. Take a break. Take a break for 3 to a week. 3 days to a week. But don't stop for longer than that. I recommend maximum like 2 weeks because you're going to forget your knowledge, especially if you're learning, right? So if you're in the middle of the 100 days of coding challenge, don't stop because A, you just ruined the challenge. But B, you're going to stop learning. And if you stop learning, you're going to forget your prior knowledge until you make that first app, that first web app, that first desktop app, or your second or your third. That's when your knowledge starts to get locked in. But until then, you could just forget it all. So do not stop for more than a few days or a week, maximum, like I said, 2 weeks, because you're just going to forget
and,
it.
like, if you're feeling burnout or whatever from, like, stress of being forced to do, like, strict whatever, take, like, a couple days of a break from doing strict stuff. And even if you don't want to go back to the stressful stuff, still do it for fun because you'll still retain the knowledge and you'll enjoy having done coding.
Yeah, and one thing I recommend, which a lot of people, I say this a lot of people disagree. Scratch, okay? So say you're learning Python, say you're learning JavaScript, and you're just tired, right? So instead of maybe doing any of those languages, really any language, for like a week, do some Scratch. You're going to remember what if statements do. You're going to remember what loops do. You're going to remember how to use them together. Even though you're not doing it in that exact language, if you're learning Python, you can retain a lot of that knowledge by just doing stuff in Scratch.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't believe that, but it's true.
When I was going into Python, I didn't really know much of it, and I was just trying to see what I could do. And I didn't really know how, like, what the specific stuff to write was for a loop or for an if statement. But once I knew what it was and how to use it, I immediately just wrote whatever I wanted because of Scratch. I knew how to do that.
And there's a lot of times, especially using Kidoyo, a platform we use for learning coding, that they'll have a challenge that's like, do this in Scratch. And then they'll have another one that's like, do this in Python. And you can easily look at that Scratch code and in your head be like, oh, now I know how to do it in Python. Because even though one is text-based and one is block-based, they're so similar in many ways. Like the base functionality, as long as you're not using extensions or libraries, the base functionality is almost exactly the same. Just one is text and one is block.
And it's easy to learn, and for beginners, it's just all around great.
And it's one, like you said, Andrew, it's one of the most popular languages right now. Python and JavaScript are so important to get tech jobs and it's what they teach in colleges. It's what they teach in high school. If you want to work on servers, Python. Cybersecurity, Python. You can make desktop apps with Python. There's now even stuff on the web that you can use Python on the web. So it's just always expanding, and Python, JavaScript, and Swift are the languages you need to learn for the future. So thank you, Andrew, for joining us for today's episode, and we will all see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.